right, we're going to get a little serious here for just a second. Because I think anybody that has gone through a divorce, the toughest question to ask yourself is, when is it time? When is it time just to pull the plug on this or not? Because it's so enormous. So Penny here is looking for some advice this morning. Hey, Penny, you're on the Voice Disguiser. Hi.
Hey, Bert. How you guys doing?
Good. First of all, let me say this. As a dude that's been through divorce, I am really sorry you're at this point, man. I mean, I think this is common sense, but by the time you find out as a friend that a divorce is happening, you've been fighting for this divorce for a year and a half or 2 years or 3 years, or this marriage, I should say, for 3 years. So it is a long, stressful process, and I'm sure you've gone through all of that.
Yeah, mine is still pretty fresh. We've kind of been on a downward spiral, I would say, for maybe about a year, maybe a little longer, but certainly for the better part of a year. And now we've been separated for 2 months. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, I'm so in the dark right now and not getting any answers whatsoever. And we are completely living apart, and everything is leading me towards thinking that it's over for him. And I don't want to keep living in this limbo space that I'm in right now.
So what's the question you're asking, Bert Show fam?
Well, I guess I'll give you a little backstory, because a couple months ago was when we got in a little 10 or 15-minute fight. It wasn't even anything huge, but all this stuff came out that, like, I wasn't even realizing that he was feeling. At the end of the argument, I had said, you know, you ought to just take your ass to the camper tonight, because we have a camper that is on our property, and we've got the full hookups and everything like that. Well, I had continued on with the plans that he and I were supposed to have that evening, which was going over to a friend's house for dinner. And when I got home that night, he was in the camper, and he was in the camper the next night. Well, that was a Saturday and a Sunday. Well, come Monday, when I got home from work, he, my dog, and our camper were gone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There wasn't, yeah. Go ahead, Kristen. Did you have...
Yeah, I was just saying, like, with no warning at all, it just poof, gone?
No Dear John letter, nothing. No words. And we did not speak so much as even a text for a little over 2 weeks.
Wow.
And a week after he left, he came back and set the camper back up on the property. And that's where he had been the entire time until 2 weeks ago, this past Saturday, when he left to go to Florida to do some work down there after the hurricane. And still a whole lot of nothing. We've had a couple of good times in that 2 weeks where, like, we'd be playing with the dogs outside, riding around the golf cart, doing some stuff like that, where it looked like maybe we were going to be able to salvage it. And I had started to go to therapy because he seems to think I need it, and I mean, you know, I'll take it. That's fine. My best friend died less than a year ago, and I am dealing with that. And so I've been going to therapy, but anytime, like y'all, when he left that Saturday, I was begging him to talk to me over in the camper, begging him, literally, in tears, please just talk to me. I need to know something, anything. Like, where are we going? What are we doing? And I mean, he ended up basically, Penny, just leave.
We could try and delay that. Did he say, like, leave the relationship or just leave the camper?
So, leave the camper. He was telling me that he needed to get all this stuff together. He couldn't forget anything. He's taking 6 people down there, and, you know, this is just too important. And if I care at all, I won't make him talk about this right now. And, you know, of course, I kept just kind of standing there and crying and trying to just a little bit talk. And then when he said, just go, just leave, I walked out of there, tail tucked between my legs, bawling my eyes out.
Is there, is he open to the two of you guys going to counseling together?
When I brought that up, he said, oh, I definitely think you need counseling. We're nowhere near that for us.
Okay.
Whoa. 1-855-BERT. I think we're going to all give the same advice. Kristen?
Yeah, Penny, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with this first and foremost. And it is so frustrating because there's like this fine line. You want to respect somebody's boundaries as far as when they're ready to talk about something, right? And it's not good to force the issue. But at a certain point, it's like, when are they taking advantage of that situation? Like, is this them really not wanting to talk because they're processing, or not wanting to talk because they're being obstinate? And that's where only you are going to know, like, is he really processing stuff and not wanting to talk, or is he just being a D-bag?
Yeah. My therapist said it's like he's trying to make me pay for something. I don't even know what I'm paying for.
It does sound like that.
You know, this is the same advice I gave last week in a very similar situation. Have you asked the very painful question yet? I don't know what his name is. John. John, do you still love me? Have you asked that yet?
Yeah.
And he says...
And that was towards the beginning of the separation, and he said yeah.
Okay. All right. The love's still there. There's something to build on, right?
I mean, you would think it's not...
He's just not engaging.
I told you, yeah, I mean, you know, we've had a couple of good moments, and like, you know, some friendly banter back and forth in text messages, or purposely me going outside because he's out there working, and so hanging out and talking and things like that. But then, so let me tell you this. So then one Monday night, I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, and this was after we had one of those decent days. His truck wasn't here, which I thought was odd, at 1:30 in the morning on a Monday night. And I looked back at the Ring camera, and he had left at 8:30. Well, I texted him a couple times asking where he was. He pulled back in about 10 or 15 minutes later. And he wouldn't answer me. He was completely ignoring me about where he was.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah. And the next afternoon, when I saw him face to face and asked him face to face, and he had to answer me, he was like, I was at a bar. Gosh, I didn't feel like I have any, I don't have to answer to you.
Hold on a sec. Here's Annie, who's kind of gone through the same thing. Hey, Annie, this is a tough one. What do you have?
I've been married for 14 years, and I've had 4 babies, 6 pregnancies for my husband, and none of that matters. My emotional needs have always come second to whatever his work or his personal desires are, and I've always kept hoping it would change, praying it would change, gotten skinnier, worked harder, cleaned the house better, taking care of the kids better. Nothing matters. So if you want to be miserable for the rest of your life, keep chasing this dream.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward right there. That's pretty straightforward right there, Penny.
Yeah.
Look,
and that's kind of where I'm thinking is like, you know, I could probably get him back right now as long as I you know, basically came crawling out of his seat saying, oh my God, I'm wrong for everything. This is all on me, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and just like she said, be stuck in this place where I'm miserable for the rest of my life.
Mo?
I've always heard successful couples say when it comes down to whenever they had those points in their marriages, it wasn't so much about love, because if she asked that question, it was about fight. If either of you were still willing to fight for each other. And I think that's what it comes down to. It doesn't sound like he is. And if he's not, well, I think that's your answer.
All right, Penny, we got to roll. We could probably spend an hour on this right here. But I think your gut is already telling you something, you know?
I think so, too. Yeah, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, Penny. I wish we could be more helpful.
The Bert Show.
So, first, thanks for watching. Second, you like what you just watched? That just scratches the surface. Get The Bert Show on any podcast platform. We're so good.